All right. Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign!
Oh, not show.
No, it's a campaign this time. It felt weird as I said it. Nick, do you want to go ahead and kick off some player introductions, and then I'll do announcements and a recap, and we'll get into it?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nick. I play Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Inventions Paladin.
Hi, I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who's the Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I play Zant, who is a human fighter ranger.
And I'm Melissa, and I play Mara Stormwind, who is a human rogue swashbuckler.
Those announcements I talked about. We premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items as well as a custom wild magic table, so be aware of that as you're watching. Our character portraits, which you can see on the info cards, were drawn by an artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. You can check the video descriptions for links and information about everything I just mentioned, as well as some links to Black Lives Matter resources. Then you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon, where lately we've been talking a little bit about our Antiheroes in Exandria show. Using our Twitter for once. Other than that, we just hope you enjoy the show, share it with your friends, and come back and watch some more. So, quick recap, and then we'll get straight into things. The Antiheroes are going after Mother Midnight in her lair on Malbolg, the 6th layer of the 9 Hells. They've dealt with several archfiends as they've traveled through the Hells, slaying Levistus, redeeming Zerial, striking a deal with both Gregorian and Glasya, and throughout all of this, only recently did they incur the anger of Asmodeus himself, which I think is a feat in and of itself. They have just now reached the layer of Malbolg, having left Stygia behind, hopefully once and for all, to discover that the layer itself is a a horrific, disgusting hellscape. They managed to, upon exiting basically a nasal cavity cave, descend down a steep slope and regroup with their old friend Moloch, who revealed that his tiny little force, his tiny little Yugoloth army, is about to be menaced by the combined forces of Maldomini, the 7th Hell, and Cania, the 8th Hell. And so we left off with the Antiheroes in a sort of a war tent with Moloch, discussing what is to be done about the current situation and their future plans on Malbolg. So we will dive in right there. To remind you all, Moloch, your little imp friend, is currently standing on a stool at a table which is just covered in maps and little miniature figures that are being pushed around with them, like those wooden rake type things. And he's got this green army helmet on with just loose straps dangling down. And he seems very distraught about his current position, having reminded the group of you that this is the scene of, it's very similar to the scene of his initial disgrace in the Hells. So jumping back into that scene, what would you like to do?
Are there hexes on his map?
Yeah,
there's lots of hexes.
Did Harmony tell us about the giving Moloch magic or whatever? And did she did that over the past several years or whatever, right?
I did that over the course of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Break, and I can't remember if it came up since we've been playing the prologue, but I don't think that she would have said anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I knew about it or not, but
no, she.
As far as I'm aware, that's still a secret between Harmony
and
Moloch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't ask about that.
Yeah, the only thing you would have noticed coming back from the sort of 5 years the group of you spent doing your own separate things was that when you came back together, Harmony and Moloch definitely seemed to have a closer bond than before, but that could be natural considering they spent 5 years hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Moloch was talking about 3 forces against us to get to her. One of them being she's protected by archdevils. Did he get to the other 2?
Maybe not. So if you ask Moloch about that, he says, right, I guess I'll give you the breakdown. And he kind of like hops up onto the table itself. And the pieces are kind of, they're different colored. You've got a set of purple pieces and a set of green pieces and a set of blue pieces. And he goes and he stands by the green pieces, which are kind of like it's like a sickly green. It's not a forest green or anything like that. And he points down at them and he says, the forces of Maladomini, the 7th hell. The lord of that hell is Beelzebul, and he's a real piece of work. I think you saw him at the banquet. Big slug-looking fellow.
I think we saw almost everybody at the banquet. Maybe not the 8th.
I'm trying to remember if I think I have a seating chart. Let me see if
What was his name?
the 7th, Lord of the 7th,
8th.
was Beelzebul. Lord of the 8th is Mephistopheles. So Moloch kind of hops over to the blue pieces and says, the forces of Cania, the 8th hell, led by Mephistopheles, though I do not believe he's actually in attendance. I think he's sent his right-hand man, Hudajin. But don't let that make you feel any better, because Hudajin is a real piece of work. You don't want to tangle with him if you can avoid it. And then he hops over to the 3rd set of pieces, the kind of dark purplish ones, and he says, and here we have the miscellaneous abominations of Malagard, the Hag Countess, the one we are, of course, all here to kill.
I thought hers would be the booger green ones. I guess not.
I noticed that Glasya didn't send forces.
No, I mean, we just got here, but
She's got us.
haven't seen any activity from the direction of her fortress, Osseia, so it's possible she's just, ready to sit back and let us fight it out, which, honestly, is good for us.
Okay.
In this case, her little rebellious streak is in our favor.
So I think we should make good on our deal with Glasya and probably visit her quickly first, though.
Yeah.
Which way is Osseia from here?
Moloch will point you in a direction, since kind of the cardinal directions are a little bit useless in the Hells. He points you in a direction and says, depending on how quick you can travel, that way, maybe a day.
Well, we got down the tunnel within, 8 hours or something?
We still have a
I think he
less.
still has like 4 hours left, is what I had written in my notes.
Yeah,
of
we still have a few hours
that
left to Windwall.
spell.
Well, that might be useful. Look, like I was saying, I'm going to need to rely on the group of you in all of this, because as things are, we are outmatched and outgunned. And without significant contributions from, you and your crew, there's no way that this plays out in our favor. So look, listen, I've been putting together a list of possible, lynch points that we could use to alter the tide in our favor. Lynch points? That's not a word. Lynch pins?
So what you're saying is we are outnumbered, but we are not outplanned.
We're not outplanned, no, because yours truly has always had a bit of a flair for the tactical, believe it or not. So the group of you, if you would open the Hangouts chat, should see a Google document in there.
Ooh.
One thing I will say about viewing the Google document, there are some cells which are blacked out for the moment, and you'll see they say locked.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't highlight them, because
Okay.
my methods for blocking them out were a little bit rudimentary, and that will reveal the text.
Okay.
Sure.
Right. So he kind of starts walking you through the various plans that he has, things that the group of you could accomplish to shift the tide in the favor of this army. And as you can see, there are quite a few options. I don't have really a way to show the viewers, unfortunately. But as you kind of go down the list, you can see that there are some which involve sort of capturing locations, some that involve capturing important individuals, others that, yep.
Real quick, I could move the dock in front of one of our cameras if you want to show it on camera,
Oh, yeah, sure.
and then scroll through it a little bit. Let me set that up.
Pop it. Can you pop it in the map square?
Not quickly. At least I don't know how to do that very quickly. But yeah.
Or I suppose you could just add another source, window source, and just pop it on top of the screen.
That feels like a lot to do on the fly.
We can set that up for next week.
Yeah,
But for this
I
week,
think
I
that's
can
a good
kind of
idea.
just put it in front of a camera and then just make it do that if you want. That should be big enough. Let's see if I do this, how bad that looks.
For one of these, for example, like the fourth one, this is completely above to unlock. Does that mean
Yep.
the one directly above or all
The
three
one
of these?
directly above.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's poorly worded. My bad. Yeah, if it says completely above to unlock, then it's the one directly above. The other unlock conditions might be a little more, well, one of them is a bit vague, intentionally so. And then the other one, obviously, is a certain amount of victory points you need before that one unlocks. So Malik kind of walks you through the list and says, well, what do you think? Anything in here seem like it's in your wheelhouse? I mean, just right off the bat, I know there's a lot to absorb, and you can think about it as you're traveling, from here to Osseia and back. But
Why don't you, for the purposes of this, because this is a lot for us to read and that's not going to be very interesting, why don't you kind of outline some of the options just in very brief terms?
Okay. Sure. So, for example, one of the biggest weaknesses of our army is that it is comprised entirely of, well, almost entirely of Yugoloths. And the problem with Yugoloths is they are loyal with you as long as they're well paid. And if someone outbids you, their loyalties can shift. And it sounds like, from what our sources are saying, Mammon himself is sending a guarded cache of treasure down this way in order to bribe away a chunk of our forces. So my thinking is we capture this cache of treasure and instead use it to reinforce our position with the Yugoloths. So that's one possible mission. Another little bit of intel we have is that Dispater, being renowned for his web of knowledge and information, has sent his right-hand guy to Tibulus down to sort of coordinate intelligence for the opposing forces. Now, he himself is, well, I won't dance around it. He's pretty squishy. He's not very tough. However, he is clever and he will be well guarded. But if we could capture him, I'm confident we could negotiate some intelligence out of him.
I like this one. Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you like that one?
Oh no, that is pointing to a different one.
Oh, okay. Which one were you pointing to?
This one where you suggest setting Beelzebub and the Sophiles against each other.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've known these two for a long time, and Beelzebub and Mephistopheles have never, ever gotten along. You remember, well, I'll just put it this way. Zariel was not the first fallen angel to join the ranks of the archdevils. That honor, in fact, goes to Beelzebub, back when he went by a different name, which at this point escapes me. But he kind of rose through the ranks incredibly quickly, gaining favor with Asmodeus. And, well, Mephistopheles never really liked that about the guy, seeing him as not really a true devil. And so they've kind of been at odds for a very long time. So if you could think of a way, and I'm not sure what that way might be, since they currently have the powerful motivator of Asmodeus's wrath holding them together, if you could motivate them apart or drive a wedge in there somehow, that would certainly be a victory in our category.
Are the Hellfire engines similar to the ones that we saw in the Avernus? Those war machines?
War machines versus Hellfire engines, yes. Similar, there's a distinction. The Hellfire engines of Mephistopheles are imbued with, a certain degree of sentience. So they're more like constructs.
I see. Because if they're built the same, I mean, I took a look under the hood with Clonk and what's his name?
Chukka and Clonk.
Chukka and Clonk, yeah.
There are similarities. Obviously, they are, mechanical but augmented by magic.
Mm-hmm.
So you could certainly, I think, with the knowledge that you have about war machines, perhaps disable them, which was my thought.
Yeah, I think this is some good material. But yeah, maybe we should go and head out with our other errand and talk about it on the way and come back to you.
Well, I do think we need to go talk to Glasya first, before this spell runs out, to give us more time. And
Her name's on this list anyway.
yeah, this is part of the list. And I think I might be able to convince Ruin to join us too.
Certainly, you can at least get an audience with them.
Well, certainly, any allies that you could bring to our cause would be a significant victory, because right now it's just us, and those aren't good odds. So if you could draw Glasya's favor, or if you do truly have some sort of in route with Ruin, he might be difficult to convince due to his relatively new position. But, the guy spent some time in the Abyss, so what do I really know about him?
I kind of just give Moloch a look. I say, you got to trust me on this one. I think I might have an in.
Right. Well, if anyone's got the silver tongue needed to convince someone like that, it's you, boss.
It's me. No, sorry.
I punch Thaddeus in the arm.
Yeah, Thaddeus, your tongue is more like, steel. It's sharp.
Mine was at some point.
Did you even
Right.
Did your mouth even open?
It did. I could use it, or I could eat food and stuff. I was just really messy. I still am, actually.
So let's start by visiting Glasya, and then we can talk about some of these other options on the way. And when we get back, we'll tackle the next item on the list, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good to me. I will get our forces rallied and ready for the initial clashes. I'm sure that after the basic, formalities are observed, we'll be getting right into things here. So please do hurry back.
Yeah, take your time.
Oh, actually, I had an idea about that. Zant, would you mind leaving Byako here? I don't think that we're really going to need Byako for our mission to Glasya.
Yeah. So Zant will lean down and pet Byako and tell him to stay put with Moloch, and we'll be back.
That was for Lulu's ability, right?
Yeah. Lulu can teleport unerringly to anyone she considers a friend.
Awesome.
Cut down on some travel time.
How many times a day can she do that?
Once.
All right. So I'm going to look around and see if there's something I can take. Just in case,
yeah.
Because I can also teleport as like a backup.
Yeah. Roll a perception check. In this tent, at a quick glance, there's obviously all the pieces scattered across the maps. There's Moloch's little army helmet. There's the little, wooden pusher things that he's pushing pieces across the board with. Other things of a size that you could take with you. I mean, I guess you could cram a stool in Xanth's bag of holding.
Can I take one of the rakes?
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably going to be the least missed if there's multiple of them.
Yeah, there's probably 2 or 3.
Okay, I'll take one of the rakes.
Okay. Alrighty then. So Moloch just kind of goes back to his musings at the map, but then before you leave, he just looks up and says, "Oh, I think there should be a couple of Yugoloths waiting outside. If you'll just send them in on your way out, that'd be great."
You got it.
Sure.
And you go outside. There are indeed a few Yugoloths sort of loitering about, kind of unsure what to do with themselves.
I'll just wave at them and smile and say, "He's ready to see you now."
Can I, while we're staying in this tent and talking, can I like get a general idea of how strong this Yugoloth army is, like man to man type of thing, like a comparison, or get an idea of what their strengths are?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll, I guess, an insight check.
Or just use my know your enemy
Oh yeah.
thing too.
Well, they're Yugoloths of varying categories. You've seen several Yugoloths before.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Seal, obviously, who is that kind of like jackal or fox like humanoid creature, and there are a few of those here. There's another type you've seen before, which are kind of those 4-armed, orange-eyed insect type creatures that kind of, most of them seem to be wielding like tridents and things like that. There's another type you've seen before, which are the sort of elongated head with green skin and yellow eyes, ultraloths. There's only really a few of those. But then there's one other type here that you haven't really seen before, which is they almost look more demonic or devilish than any of the other types of Yugoloths. But they're these big, large, hulking, sort of green skin creatures, and their skin is almost like reptilian. They have these big, straight horns that come up the top of their heads. And each one, without fail, is wielding a big great axe.
Okay.
So those are the types that you see.
Okay.
Which one in particular are you sort of curious about their power
I guess
level?
I was just trying to get an idea if like this army is pretty flimsy or not, because I mean, not really knowing a whole lot of the different Yugoloth types and being sort of new to or introduced to them right now, it's kind of looking and seeing if they're like if they've seen a fight or two before, if they're experienced, if I think that they stand a chance, type of thing.
They certainly all look like they've been in a fight. Like every single one you look at shows signs of having seen combat. Like they're very practiced at. There's some that are kind of sitting in a circle sharpening those big axes, and their strokes are all like perfect, right? You can tell that they're getting these axes to a perfectly honed edge. There's a couple of those insect-like creatures that you can see kind of sparring with the tridents, and while they wouldn't be a match for any of you, they're clearly, adept at using their weapons. And based on what you know of Yugoloths, they're kind of like the mercenaries of the Blood War.
Right.
And almost without fail, Yugoloths have seen service in the Blood War at some point or another.
Okay.
Yeah. People hire them because they're not afraid to die. They'll just go right back to their own dimension, which isn't here.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So I think Zant would just sort of like walk and take, scan the field a little bit and sort of maybe just nod approvingly, like, okay, this seems like a good fighting force. Like, this doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I mean, their numbers are far fewer than the ones you saw through your scope, but the group that is here all looks well trained. Is there anything in particular you want to get specifically with your know your enemy ability?
No, I just wanted to sort of get some level of experience type of thing. I know that's not really literally on the list, but just kind of, a general swath at our local population, I guess, and I think that gave me a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, all of them seem to be kind of leaving you alone. So what would the group of you like to do?
There is actually one more thing I wanted to do here, which was
Sure.
to seek out if there was like a like a lot of war camps have like armories and stuff like that, or like little, you know, mini smithies and stuff like that they can take care of their weapons and armor.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and roll a perception check.
Sure. Say 15.
15. It seems like most of the Yugoloths kind of brought their own weapons, but obviously stuff happens during battle. So after a quick look around the camp, you do find sort of a series of almost like wagons that are just kind of piled with replacement weapons. And nobody seems to be really in charge of it at all.
Or anything for like I'm looking specifically for like people fletching arrows and stuff like that, or other like ammunition type things.
Weirdly enough, you don't really see anything like that.
Okay, that's fine then. So I'm good after taking a little look around.
Okay.
All right,
what's
well, we
next
don't
then?
really have any time to waste if we're going to go to
Yeah.
use this wind walk to go to Glasya.
As
So,
I'm wasting
I'll
time.
just, yeah, you're totally, I assume this is your perception check as we're kind of just
Yeah.
moving through the camp, right?
Yeah,
So,
this is like seconds probably, or a minute or
yeah,
something.
yeah. So, we're
A couple
spending
minutes, yeah.
Mhm.
a minute to transform back into the little cloud.
Yep.
Okay.
And
And
Moloch showed us which way to go, right?
He pointed.
Yeah, he gave you a general direction. As you're taking that minute to transform back into cloud form, each of you has that kind of like prickling feeling on the back of your neck again, as if, like I think you figured out last week, it's very much as if you feel like something is following you, as if you are being hunted. You no longer hear the baying of the dogs for the moment, but you still have that weird sort of supernatural sensation at the moment.
I wonder if that's just one of the powers of like the archdevil or something like that. One of the archdevils here.
Let's go.
Otherwise,
It's a
yeah, I
bad
guess
feeling. Never get used to that.
I mean, it's hell,
Yeah.
quite literally. And, you know, we pissed off the king. So let's just transform in the clouds and float away at top speed.
as long as it's
and
not a
as-
giant air conditioner following us, I think we'll be okay in gas form.
Maybe it is a giant air conditioner.
I'm running.
As Zant makes that joke, how he knows what an air conditioner is, who knows? The group of you transform into your various multicolored clouds and are up into the sky. And I think it was, what, a flying speed of 300 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got 4 hours left. So this is certainly enough to get you to Osseia.
300 feet per round.
Yeah.
Well, a
sure
flying
that-
speed of 300 feet, if you dash,
Yeah, that's true.
then that's 600 feet. How
I'm sure
fast is
that
that?
Thimblefoot has an air conditioner at this point. Magical air conditioner.
100 feet per second in miles per hour is nearly 70 miles per hour. So that's pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So the group of you assume your cloud form and whoosh up into the sky, flying across the landscape in the direction that Moloch suggested. You find yourselves passing over the hellscape that I described last week. It's just sort of this weird purplish ground beneath you that is sort of cut up in places by rivers that look like they are either full of blood or bile or other weird, gross, bubbling liquids. And then there are hills here and there that almost look like they could be well, based on the little tree-like structures that kind of grow out of the top of the hills, it almost looks like they could be like moles or things like that. And And then in the far distance, you can see like mountains that seem to be, once you actually get sort of a grip of their perspective, they seem to be the actual rib cage of some giant creature. And that almost seems to encircle the plane itself. And as you're flying across the landscape this direction, you begin to pass over a vast forest. And from your vantage point, you actually can tell, you can see more of the truth of what this forest actually is. It's no forest at all. It is just a patch of some giant creature's hair.
Great.
Yep. And it looks very greasy and disgusting from this vantage point way up high. I just need to look at one thing in the Windwalk spell really quick. Okay. And you see, well, actually, why don't you guys go ahead and roll perception checks?
Over here.
12?
Yep.
Okay.
16.
28.
18.
So pretty much everyone but Thaddeus. Thaddeus, this place is just kind of disgusting and you don't really want to look at it.
Yeah.
But everyone else manages to spot something large sort of moving in between these like hair stalks that are sprouting out of the ground. They'll kind of like brush against the base of the hair and make it move at the top. And you'll just catch little glimpses of these large white creatures down there. And at one point in your flight, one of them leaps up at incredible speed and velocity and flies in, well, I'll roll a d4, I guess, and find out who it
Are these
flies
the giant
at.
lice? It has to be the giant lice that we were warned about.
It flies at Thaddeus.
Okay.
Wait, were we warned about giant lice?
Yeah.
You were warned about giant lice.
Yeah.
And it misses you because your speed is so great. But you see this just sort of as it's kind of flying past you and then beginning to make its descent back down. You see this huge, disgusting flea or lice-like shape. And it just kind of looks at you with these big eyes, and you can see that it has blood dripping from its mandibles as it hurtles back towards the ground. But then it lands softly on top of the hair and then burrows back down into the forest.
We should avoid these
Hey.
forests.
I'm so happy we're teleporting back.
Lice forests.
I don't know what's making my head itch.
And a few more, you kind of, as you're flying by, jump up at the group of you. But since you're hurtling past at the speed that you are, none of them are able to catch you at all. And it's not long. You kind of are flying over the forest the entire way. So you continue to see these creatures for a long time. But a couple hours into your journey, you begin to see a structure on the horizon. The first thing you see is it almost looks like 10 towers rising up high into the sky, just straight and just pointed directly up. And they seem to be in a circle. And then as you fly sort of across the horizon, you eventually begin to see what is in the center of that circle, which is an enormous human-like skull. Which just sits in the middle of these 10 towers, which you then, as you get closer, begin to recognize as essentially just a series of very tall, very long and spindly finger bones that you can see doorways have been carved into, sort of at the bottom and at various levels. And as you approach, you see a group of flying creatures fly out of one of those finger bones and begin heading in your direction.
Can I just say this is giving me like super Breath of the Wild vibes? Am I the only one picturing the like Moblin camp skulls?
I didn't until you just said that, actually.
I was picturing something different. I don't
It's
know.
a
I
little
feel
bit like that, except
Except more grotesque and humanoid and less
yeah,
cartoon
and
fantasy.
the massive eyes of this creature seem to have been filled with this lavender glass, through which, at this distance, probably only Zant can make out. You can see on the other side of the lavender glass are these just opulently decorated rooms, filled with various figures, but you can't at this distance quite tell what they're doing. But it seems as if the inside of the skull is just lavishly decorated. But yes, you have these flying creatures kind of winging towards you at this point.
Does the
what?
Go ahead.
What are they? Can we tell what they are?
Zant could probably see them. It'll be another minute or so before the rest of you.
He can't use a scope though. How come he has such better eyesight than we do?
Because he has really good perception.
Yeah.
What's your perception bonus, Zant?
+8. I also have observant.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, fine.
But Zant, you would immediately recognize them as Aranyes. Aranyes?
Oh, okay.
Those sort of statuesque, humanoid-shaped devils with the black raven feather wings.
Like Legate Clazel?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I guess we want to keep going until they see us and then we land or something?
They've probably already seen us, I think.
Well, I mean,
probably...
yeah.
I mean, we can't
I meant to say
communicate right now because we're
greet
just
us.
clouds, so...
I'm not sure we can't.
I'm just gonna make a beeline for the, like, what looks like the main entrance of the castle.
Okay. You keep dashing in that direction, and at some point, the figures do get to the point where they're close enough to you. They're in sort of shouting distance, and one of them, who's sort of at the forefront, seems to be a very beautiful, like black-haired woman with these completely red eyes. She shouts, "Halt! Whatever you are there, down to the ground now!"
Yeah, I figured just something like this.
I was already heading down to the ground, so I'm
we'll-
just gonna keep going toward the entrance of the castle as fast as I can.
And she begins shouting at you, like trying to direct you away from the door to the castle and to more of like a point that's maybe like a mile away from the castle entrance itself. Not there.
Yeah, I'll comply. I'll go to where she's directing.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to. No reason to Glasya mad.
Does harmony persist?
But I mean, we're expected, so.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was kind of just making
I'm
a
like,
beeline for the
hello?
door. But apparently, the men of this group are sissies. So
Knock, knock, knock.
You are expected, but I don't think Glasya would have given them instructions to look for clouds.
I'm actually still stuck on the fact that they know these are not just clouds. But I guess
I mean, they're kind of multicolored. You
Fine.
look around. I mean, there really aren't any clouds in the sky.
yeah, that's fair.
Kind of just like this orange tint universally around the realm.
Oh, I was gonna ask, is the what do you even call this? Gross, fleshy something landscape? Is it also directly surrounding the castle as well, or does it different around the castle?
It looks like directly around the castle. Some of the landscape seems to have been cultivated to become a little bit more pleasurable and beautiful.
Okay.
Like you can see some gardens with like tall hedges and things like that. And there are actually, tables set up by fountains and things like that. And you can see devils kind of enjoying themselves there.
I like within the ring of finger bones.
Yeah, within the ring of finger bones.
Yeah.
Okay, but outside of that, it's still just gross and
Yeah, fleshy
I
and
see.
gross. And you're being directed to a point sort of outside of the ring of finger bones.
I'm going to land just inside of the ring of finger bones
I hope
Okay.
it's called the
and
ring
start
finger.
transforming.
Me too.
I'm gonna
Gotta
land
give
where,
us a hand.
I'm gonna land where they tell us to.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just outside the Ring of Fingerbones, but there's about 10 of these figures, and they all kind of have that sort of very statuesque build to them, all seeming to be kind of like paragons of human appearance. But the female one who initially hailed you downward, once you all land and are beginning sort of, well, I guess maybe you're not. Once
I don't think I am. Because like there's nothing in the spell that says we can't talk. So I was planning to just land where
it
they
says the only actions you can take are dash and transform.
That's like you can't cast spells, you can't attack, or you can't do stuff like that. It doesn't say you can't talk.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're a cloud. You have no vocal cords.
But we still have those telepathic earring things.
That's something we can't do because that's a spell.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
But my interpretation is we can still talk. I don't know. It's up to you.
It doesn't really. It's kind of a moot point because as you land, you feel sort of a mental probe at each of your consciousnesses, which you've experienced before when creatures with telepathy tried to talk to you, and this Aranis kind of proclaims in your brain, who presumes to fly with such rapid speed directly towards the castle Osseia, where the princess of hell herself dwells. Name yourselves or be shot down where you are.
I wish I had eyes so I could roll them.
Yeah,
I say that mentally.
One of the Aranis in the back basically pulls a longbow and goes to shoot at you, and then the other one kind of raises a hand. The one you've been communicating with raises a hand to tell them to lower it, and they just kind of warily do it. But you can see that comment pissed them off. I wouldn't be so flippant.
Well, I wouldn't be so flippant either if you knew you were talking to the heroes of fucking hell.
Let's see if she's heard of it.
Tell your master we're here, please.
On her invitation, I might add.
She says, right, if you are who you say you are, then we have been told to expect you. But we were not told to expect these cloud forms. Assume your true forms and show me your passports, and then I'll take you to my lady if you are who you say.
All right.
I'd like to think I was already in the middle of transforming, but yeah, we'll just all take a minute, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show the passport.
As soon as you revert to your true forms and the creatures can kind of get a look at you, you see some recognition in their eyes.
As I show my passport, I flip the bird. See?
She just kind of narrows her eyes.
A mile away, Thaddeus is talking to his and saying like, we meant no disrespect to your lady. And like a mile away, Harmony is just like blowing everything.
Harmony is just so done with this bullshit.
No, I love it.
It doesn't show at all.
And these devils do seem to take your insult begrudgingly. And the one who's been talking to you just kind of narrows her eyes and says, fine, I'll show you inside. Follow me.
About time.
And yeah,
I also like the image of like Harmony being like this 3 foot something like tiny little tiefling with all this attitude bossing these Aranis around.
Yeah, I mean, like each one of them is at least 6'6", right? They're very tall.
I also like the imagery of like this wispy form sort of going away from the bottom up, and then you just see this finger as it like goes to like the finger level. As it's like, here's my passport.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
That's
just
great.
like in his face, it's like, is that it?
Passport,
Are you done?
bitches.
Yeah.
This way, please.
It translates well, all languages.
The group of you are led forward, sort of across the courtyard, past these gardens. And now that you get a look at the gardens, you can see that there are various devils enjoying themselves there, kind of lounging and indulging in various pleasures. Some of them are drinking strange liquids. Some of them seem to be smoking out of these massive hookah type things. Some of them also just seem to be playing lawn games using. So, for example, some of them are playing like lawn bowling, but the pins seem to be these very decrepit-looking humanoid creatures that are in chains, things like that. But there's also, you see the occasional one of those sort of chained humanoid creatures does also seem to be enjoying themselves in the gardens, kind of warily avoiding the devils, but kind of enjoying various pleasures under the watch of maybe a chained devil or two. And you're brought to the entrance of this giant skull, which is, as you'd expect, just the giant open mouth. And as you get up close to it, you can see that the teeth are rigged that they can kind of open and close like a portcullis.
I look up for any chandeliers that are on fire that are hanging from rope.
No such thing. No.
I'm just kidding.
But as soon as you walk in the entrance, it's like you're sort of back in the Palace of Farendel, except on a much, much, much grander scale. The riches and finery that are on display here would make the noblest of nobles back in Freydin blush at its just sheer opulence. And you're kind of directed to, you're led through a series of halls and directed to a waiting room, which is just filled with all of these lavender couches and things like that. And you're told to just wait here. I'll tell the lady that her guests have arrived. And as you're left alone in this room, you kind of look, you get a look around, and for the first time, you kind of notice the furniture. Each bit of furniture is, covered in cushions and things that make it comfortable and gives a vibe of luxuriousness. But all of the framework for the furniture, as you look at it, seems to be formed completely out of the sort of lacquered forms of humanoid bodies. And you're just sort of left in this waiting room.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And as you're waiting there for a few minutes, you hear one of the couches just kind of go,
So are they lacquered in black or lacquered in
That's amazing.
kind of just like a shiny black.
Okay.
I want to touch one of them.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
There are a couple of Iranians who were left to sort of watch you here, and one of them just kind of sees your reaction to this and says, "Please sit."
It was a long trip over. I want to stretch my legs a little bit. Thank you, though.
I want to ask the Aranyas, whose skull are we standing inside?
It kind of looks down at you. You showed kind of a little bit of respect, so it gives you.
I have a class feature where I know how to be respectful to people.
That's true.
I'm pulling that class feature right now.
Yeah, it looks down at you, and you gather you're probably the only one in the party it probably would have talked to. And it says, "Oh, you don't know? Interesting. You stand within the skull of Malagard the Hag Countess."
That's what I thought. I've been told that she had exploded, and I thought I saw some finger bones, some hair, some flesh, some skulls. It's all coming together now.
Yes, on the day that Our Lady descended from above to take rulership over this lair, the Hag Countess, pretender devil that she was, swelled to incredible size and exploded, and now we sit and reap the benefits of her demise. I'm sure you've seen the rest of the plane. The entire thing is the twitching remains of her body. An excellent and ongoing permanent torture. Well deserved, if you ask me.
Thaddeus looks back at the couch. And The Lady Glasya makes a habit of decorating with the remains of her enemies, does she?
It kind of gives you a I don't know what the word is, like a surprised look, like, no, you don't understand what's going on here? And he says, no, not the remains of her enemies. Our Lady Glasya is the prison warden of the Nine Hells, but also one of its foremost experts on torturing new souls that come this direction. What you would look upon are the tortured forms of mortal souls, and it cracks a smile.
Obviously. Who doesn't know that?
Put in their place to serve the luxury of us devils. Everything has an order.
And where do you follow this order?
The feathers on the wings kind of ruffle a little bit. High enough. As all of this is going on, a little ways down the hall, a door flies open, and you can hear like a lot of laughter and the sounds of sort of merriment coming from within. And a group of just immaculately gorgeous humanoid figures, male and female, very, very scantily clad, all of them kind of tumble out of the door and basically just, make their way across the hall and open a door there and go in there laughing as they go. But the door that they left is left ajar, and you can see within it a figure. And Zant, I think, would probably be the one, obviously, with the highest perception, but I think all of you probably recognize the figure within. It's the sort of dark obsidian skin with the imposing build, the devilish form of Ruin. Is kind of sitting within, lounging in a chair with his hoved legs kind of kicked up on a stool.
I run inside.
You just run inside?
I just run inside immediately.
Okay. When you do, you find basically across the room from Ruin in a position you couldn't see. There are about 8 or 9 more of these just beautiful humanoid figures just entangled on a bed, and Ruin is just kind of sat back watching. And they don't stop as you come in. And Ruin just kind of sees you and raises an eyebrow and says, "Oh, I thought I might be seeing more of you."
Do you know who I
am? He gives you this smile, and I think I've described it before. Ruin's smile is kind of intoxicating. There's just something about it that it sends signals to your brain that kind of trigger both a pleasure response and also a pain response at the same time.
Okay, awkward.
Yeah, very awkward. But he smiles at you for a second and then says, "Of course, you're one of the heroes of hell."
No, that's not what I mean. Obviously, I'm a hero of hell, but do you know who I am?
He stands up to his imposing 8 or 9 foot stature, grasps
2 harmonies.
A third of his height.
Yeah. Grasps a glass of alcohol that seems to be on the stand next to him, walks over to you and kind of towers over you about 3 feet in front of you and says, "Yes, of course, I know who you are."
Why didn't you say anything?
Because it didn't matter, did it?
Well, of course it matters.
He snaps his fingers and the activity on the bed stops, and he just kind of shoos towards the door, and immediately they all run out the door across the hall into the other room. So the group of you see this like tumble of 9 like nearly naked bodies just kind of run across the hall.
I think Thaddeus says like, so there's torture on the other thing here too, huh?
The Arinya says, "That's our mistress, a master of both pleasure and pain."
I'm not here to take away from Harmony. I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure.
Does anyone else run into the room to speak with Ruin, or is it just Harmony?
I mean,
I don't think I told any of you what I saw,
No.
did I? No.
No.
Then what you see is...
So you wouldn't necessarily know not to follow me?
But you're running somewhere, you're dashing away somewhere, and like Thaddeus' natural response to Harmony dashing away anywhere is like, we better go follow her.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of Xant's too. Is like, oh no.
I don't mind if you guys follow
Yeah.
me, but I
So
feel
you
like
kind of slowly
you wouldn't
trail
know.
Yeah.
in.
We
Okay.
don't know why. We don't know your drive for this. But yeah, I think Thaddeus and Xant would probably share a look and then like shrug and then start walking towards the door
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Once the last of you kind of slowly make your way in, Ruin flicks his wrist again and the door kind of slams shut. And he gestures to sort of a sitting area. Well, take a seat.
I'm just gonna stand there staring at him.
I'll
Like
sit.
trying to stand as imposingly as I can with my thing.
I'm gonna try and sit in a place where my aura can cover the rest of my team.
Mhm.
Because I really don't want to be around a demon lord or an archdevil.
Yeah, it's
Without-
not a huge room, so your aura
Yeah.
will probably cover the entire room.
Okay.
I think Xant would just lean against the
Um,
wall.
He says, "Fine, don't sit, but don't mind if I do." And he goes back to his seat and kind of lounges, and then once again kind of gestures towards the chairs.
If he sits, I'll kind of
I was already sitting.
grudgingly go to a chair to sit. Are they far, or is he sitting kind of with?
It's kind of a round seating area. He's taken what is obviously like
The head chair.
Yeah, there's one chair that's like a little bit more grand than the others, and that's the one that he sits in. But there's other couches and things in here, and as you sit down, you just hear, "Oh," as you realize they are also made of the lacquered forms of these tortured
I kind of
souls.
just pat
Oh, God.
the armrest a little bit. I'm sorry. This is important.
No one ever apologizes to us. Ruin chuckles a little bit at that. And all of you feel that same sort of sensation that I described to Harmony as Ruin chuckles, this pleasant yet dangerous chuckle. Honestly, it just didn't seem important. But obviously it is important to you.
Well, of course it is. We're family.
In the loosest sense.
No, not the most direct sense. You can chart it. It's a direct line.
He kind
doesn't
of
that mean anything?
he waves his hand as if to dismiss what you said and says, No, you and I aren't family. Your bloodline is, well, it's hers.
Where is she? What happened to her?
Just roll a quick persuasion check.
Okay.
Thaddeus is still giving Xant looks like, what?
I'm going to,
right back at
I'll
you.
roll first.
Yeah.
I'll roll first. Wait, no, I want to use this one. Nope, Tides of Chaos.
That's what I'd like to hear.
Takes another step
It's
back.
not much better. Fuck. It's a little bit better. Where's my pencil? It's a 17.
Okay.
It's not great.
He takes a long look at you with these like coal black eyes that seem to bore into you, as if like you kind of feel like physical burning on you as he looks at you. And he says, in all honesty, I have no idea.
Yeah, inside check.
Okay. Let me just pull up the Demon Lord Gratz's stats. Roll a quick thing.
Ooh, that's not bad, considering my insight's only +2.
Did I spell that wrong? Oh, there's an apostrophe in there. That's why.
Yeah. Grats.
Graz.
Grats.
What was your roll?
16.
16. He is inscrutable. Anyone else who wants to roll an insight check can as well.
Sure.
I don't even know what they're talking about. I have no idea what's going on.
You might not know what they're talking about, but you might be able to pick up on, whether he's
whether he's lying to my face or not, for example.
I got a
Yeah,
25.
I have. Well, you're going to do better than me, and I have advantage. Yeah, you did way better than me.
It looked like Mara was rolling.
Trying to figure it out. 13 plus 8, 20,
21.
21.
Mara and Zant,
-3.
it's a little bit confusing. You're not 100% certain of his full intent. However, it's clear that like part of what he's saying is him toying with Harmony, but it doesn't seem untrue. He's just being like vague on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To like mess with Harmony's emotions and feelings and things like that. So
I think like Zant would just like shift his weight a little bit and give him kind of an eyebrow raise, like kind of like a, he sees something going on, but he's gonna keep his mouth shut for a little bit longer.
Does Mara do anything or say anything?
I think I'm going to go stand closer to him.
Okay.
Try to be intimidating.
There's a scent coming off of him that just kind of, I don't know, it makes you feel warm a little bit, but it also kind of sends, it starts triggering those feelings in your brain that are like the flight instinct. It's fear, but also pleasant. It's strange, but you kind of stand trying to menace over him. Roll an intimidation check.
Well, that is a 13 plus 3 is 16.
16. He looks at you and says, "You're cute."
I know, but that's beside the point.
Listen. And he looks then at Zant and says, "Listen, there's no duplicity here. I truly don't know what befell Artistry."
Then tell me everything you do know.
What, you want a story?
Why else would I have come here? Don't you think you owe me that much for what you put our bloodline through?
He gives you a hard look and says, "Some things are more important."
I don't agree. Only a fool would make a contract with Asmodeus.
A fool who had everything to lose. Fine.
And what have you lost, really? And was it worth it?
He doesn't really give you a response, but he kind of lets that hang for a few seconds before he says, "Fine, I'll tell you what I do know. Unfortunately, it's not much. A long time ago, and I mean a very, very long time, I and a fellow sorcerer, not unlike yourself, named Artistry, as I'm sure you knew at this point, had a mission we needed to accomplish. The greatest threat this multiverse has ever faced. And we made a deal, and we accomplished our mission.
What was that mission?
He gives you a smile and he says, "Oh, I'm sure it's one you would have appreciated full well. We overthrew absolute order and allowed chaos to continue its reign."
Here in the Hells?
No, in the multiverse as a whole. Like I said, it was a threat to our multiverse, not one plane or material realm. No, things were more important. Then we went home. We settled in. We forgot about our deal to Asmodeus, and we each had children of our own. And one day, he came to collect, but he collected from Artistry and not from me. And she was, he smiles like a nostalgic smile. He says, she was something. There was a fire in her like I've never seen in any being in my many years. I tried to tell her not to go, but she went anyways. She said if she couldn't have her child, if she truly had to lose her child, who meant everything to her, then it didn't matter one way or the other if she died fighting Asmodeus. And so she went. I couldn't stop her. And that was the last I saw of Artistry. One thing I do want to amend, last week when you had your vision, I think I said that they looked tiefling-ish then, but they actually would have looked more sort of like standard humanish at the time.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I completely, that was a thing in my brain that I screwed up, but yeah, that's the story he tells you.
So she went to fight Asmodeus and you didn't help her? She was paying your debt.
Our debt. We took the deal together.
And only she had to pay, and you just sat here reaping all the benefits?
He shakes his head and says, no, when she didn't come back, our people, Artistry was special. Everyone loved her. And our people were angry that she didn't come back, and sure, maybe their anger was justified. And they came to me and they begged me time and time again to lead them against Asmodeus. They said that we could overthrow him with my power. And the years went by, and eventually, what can I say? They wore me down. But obviously, that attempt ended in failure.
And you were sent to the abyss.
Yes, after Asmodeus broke our forces and, well, turned me into what I am now, he realized I was the perfect spy. I wasn't law and order like his other devil minions. No, there was pure chaos in my veins. And he sent me to the abyss on a mission. And now I'm back home, I suppose you could say.
Reaping in the benefits of your traitorous actions.
I betrayed no one. I warned Artistry not to go.
But you didn't stop her, and you didn't help her.
No one could stop Artistry when she set her mind to something.
Then you could have gone with her. Maybe she would have made it out of there.
He looks at you like full on in the, like directly in the eyes. Can you roll me, it's not a negative effect. I just want to sort of see Harmony's, fortitude of character. Just roll me a charisma saving throw.
You got a
Fatty's bonus.
+5 bonus.
Okay. Oh God. How do I even pick a die for this?
The one that looks most like the innards of Malagard.
Gross.
Luckily, I have a very big charisma bonus. 5 from Fatty.
Yep.
So 21.
21, okay. For the first second, when he kind of looks you directly in the eyes, You look aside.
Wait, can I bend luck on myself?
if you want to, sure.
I do. I want to. 2.
For a total of 23.
No. That was 2 sorcery points. I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Where are my d4s? 3.
Okay, so for a total of
24.
24. You feel the urge instantly to look aside, but through sort of fear, like sheer force of will and like the anger that you're feeling inside of you, you manage to hold his gaze without looking aside at all. And it is literal minutes that this staring contest goes on.
I don't even blink. I don't even fucking blink.
No, with your roll, you don't blink for sure. But your eyes are like watering by the time he finally speaks again, and he says, "You think I haven't thought of that? You think I haven't punished myself for years, thinking what if I'd gone with? But no. I've seen Asmodeus at his full power. He is a god. He's no mere devil. We stood no chance one way or another. Even if her bloodline of creation and my bloodline of destruction united together, it would have been meaningless."
You know, Ruin. Thaddeus gets up from where he's seated.
He doesn't look away from Harmony.
I hold my
he's
hand
listening.
up. I hold my hand up to Thaddeus.
Thaddeus sits back down.
And I say, if it's true, what you just said, maybe you can make it right now. Maybe you can make it up to her by helping me.
He looks at you again for another second, kind of tilts his head to the side, leans back and says, "Go on."
This guy kind of advanced our timeline, and I jerk my thumb towards Thaddeus.
Thaddeus gets up again and bows and sits back down.
I'm sure you heard what happened after the party.
Oh, I heard. All of hell heard.
Now, we've come here on a mission. We're here to take out Malagard, but we also have Asmodeus's armies standing in front of us. And I'm also here to break that contract which you so foolishly forged all those centuries ago. Join us. You have more armies at your side now. You can exact the revenge you've been wondering what would have happened if you had taken. Help us. For her.
The time for persuasion check is not yet, so hold on. He leans forward and says, "I hear what you're saying. I really do. But if there's one thing I've come to appreciate, it's that the game of the multiverse is played across thousands of years, if not mere hundreds. And I'm in it for the long haul. Make no mistake." And he kind of like looks left, looks right to sort of make sure no one, can be overhearing what he's about to say. I will make Asmodeus pay for everything. But helping you and Moloch's ragtag force of Yugoloths to slay the forces of Mephistopheles and Beelzebul in order to slay a night hag, that doesn't help me strike against Asmodeus.
But taking out his allies can only weaken his forces, and it provides an opening you might be looking for.
I'm still not strong enough.
Do you mind if I say something? That may be true, but what we're doing here strengthens somebody else. taking out Malagard, other than possibly other contenders to the 6th. You're strongly allied with Glasya, aren't you? That's why you're here.
I'm hoping to forge an alliance. It's not solid yet,
Also,
but we're working through the details.
if I
What,
can,
what we're doing here doesn't help you directly, but it does help Glasya. And you helping us, it's what she would want, Glasya.
so Zant also speaks up and says, also, I'm sure you've noticed, but his archdukes and archduchesses, I guess, or have been falling one by one. I mean, you know, we already did away with Avernus. Levistus is now gone, and you have presumed that role. We're after maybe 3 more at this point, right? Or I guess 2.5, depending on what you think about Malagard. That's quite an opening if you look at it like that.
It's true. Asmodeus will never have fewer allies than after we're done with these armies.
The real problem is not how many allies Asmodeus has, because as history has told us, his enemies can always rally together against him. The reckoning of hell, in which your friend Moloch lost his status, proved that. He had, by all accounts, the forces required to challenge Asmodeus, and yet he was still broken. It will take special circumstances to see him fall, especially with the power he gained from my
That you
feet in the
handed to
abyss.
him.
Again, long game.
How are you planning then to pay him back, if not to see him fall?
Ultimate chaos always defeats ultimate law and order.
And is not this battlefield and the lack of archdevils running the hells, is that not chaos? Is that not enough chaos for you?
He shakes his head and says, "Not yet. But I am a devil. Make me an offer. You've won my ear. As I've said, I'm playing a very, very long game. Offer me a piece for future use, and I think we have a deal."
I'm about to do something real stupid if you guys don't have any ideas.
Let's hear it.
If you kind of like take some time to look around at each other, he will pick up on that, and he says, "If you need some time to talk amongst yourselves, I can rejoin my companions."
Yeah, I'd say I'm sorry for breaking that up, but I'm not really sorry. And I just get up and leave the room.
We'll be outside.
Okay. Yep. The door closes behind you, such that you are left in the waiting room, presumably with privacy, other than the Aaron who are kind of standing guard.
Yeah. What do we even have that we can give him?
Do you really want the answer to that question?
Our souls.
Well, that's off the table.
Glasya is going to want something too.
To that point, you've already struck your deal with Glasya.
No, I mean, we struck her deal about the contract, but
if you want her on her side, yeah.
If we want her help further, she's going to want something in return for that.
Yeah, we don't even actually know what she wants from Harmony, do we?
So you've already completed your end of the bargain.
Yes,
So
with
her
the
fulfilling
Levistus fight was that.
the only thing that remains is she said in order to exploit the loophole, which she is aware of in Harmony's contract, she needed Harmony to come to this castle, and you could never ask what was required.
Oh yeah.
Or was it what was required, or how she did it?
How she did it,
Yeah, okay.
and you know, like what the means were to that end.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm not clear on if like we're going to lose something else as a result of this deal or what.
No, the deal that we made with Glasya for my bloodline protection is good. We've already paid for that.
Yeah, you won't lose anything more for that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
You just can't ever like ask or investigate into what was required to exploit that loophole.
Hey guys, I need to step away just for a minute, okay? You can keep going.
Okay.
I mean, our souls are off the table. I'm not giving up my sword. I've already paid too much to win that.
It doesn't make sense for you to do that now.
I don't know what else we have.
Me.
Thought you were going to say that.
As I just said, our souls are off the table.
Your soul is off the table. I mean, you know that my people weren't originally from your world. My people only left because of this contract. I don't want to just agree to stay here, but
then that's what you'll be doing eternally. You'll become a warrior for Ruin or Glasya or somebody.
Not immediately, but maybe once my life in Allendale is over, then I can come here instead of going to wherever I would be going. This feels personal to me. I feel like, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what else we
plan.
can offer. I don't know what else we can offer him that he would want.
You're going to like this less than your soul, which is ridiculous, but it's saying something. Give him your amulet. He has one like it. He might want another.
That has merit.
I don't know what he'd do with it.
Yeah, well, it could be after we settle everything here, right? If he's interested, that is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe.
It'll still be you without
amulet
it.
that he had, the one that he gave to Asmodeus?
Yep, he gave that to Asmodeus, and it's what he alluded to in his story. He was sent into the abyss to retrieve that, whatever it was.
If what you have is anything as powerful as that, I can't imagine he would say no. It would be a tremendous asset to him down the road.
And I suppose I wouldn't need it once we go back home.
I would rather he have that than you forever.
Same.
Let's talk to Glasya, and I'll think about it.
Sure.
All right. It's your choice, but please, Harmony, don't. I'd rather go without his help than give you up.
That's for dang sure.
Thanks. I didn't expect you to say that, but thank you.
As the conversation fades into silence, you can only, from the room that all of the figures trundled into, you can just sort of hear the sounds of laughter and giggles and things like that. But other than that, the corridor is pretty much silent. You don't see Ruin come out of the room that he was in. this goes on. It continues to be pretty much quiet for about.
I mean, I feel like if 10 or 30 seconds goes by in silence and nothing happens, I'll go over to the fucking guards, these guards, and I'll kind of like look very pointedly at them and say, "Where's Glasya? You did tell her we're here, right? You know how rude it is to keep guests waiting."
One of them looks down at you with an unveiled glare and just says, "Our mistress is very busy. She'll be with you when she can."
"Where is her room?"
It doesn't say anything. Just kind of glares down at you.
I'm just gonna walk down the hallway.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go look for her.
As you start walking down the hallway, you basically run into various like corners and turns in the hall, and you just start taking them at random. And about a minute into your wanderings, you turn a corner directly into the silken lavender dress. I guess it would be a black dress, a silken black dress clad, lavender-skinned tiefling form of Glasya. And she says, "Oh, darling, I was just coming to fetch you. Are your friends
just coming to fetch you? I no, they probably didn't follow me this time."
"Well, let's go collect them, and then let's get this business done and over with, shall we?"
"Yes, I'd like nothing more."
Okay, so Glasya basically turns you around.
Take the starch right out of her.
Walks back down the hall until the group of you see Glasya and Harmony come around the corner.
As we walk back to the group, I'm going to say, "So I didn't know you were close with Ruin."
"Oh, you spoke with him then, did you? Well,
yeah, we had a very interesting conversation."
"Close at this point, perhaps not. I'd met him before, but we are looking to forge a very intimate relationship."
"That's great. I mean, you do have a common enemy."
"Well, I wouldn't."
"He'd be a very reliable ally for you."
"I would say that we share a variety of common interests." As they approach the group of you, Glasya kind of extends her arms and says, "Welcome, my friends. I've prepared a room just for the group of you. Anything you desire, I can have it brought. Food, drink. The group of you look tired."
I could rest.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of respect, and then I'll like point to the guards. Wouldn't hurt.
Glasya shoots a glare at the group of them that clearly is as pointed as daggers, and their gazes immediately just like fall to the ground. Well, we'll see. They're sorted out. If you suffered any ill will from them, please come with me. And she begins leading your way down the hallway. Along the hall, there are just various portraits of her in different positions. Like in one of them, she is kind of standing with her knee up on one of these sort of tortured souls, kind of posed in a thinking position. And then in one of them, she's kind of laying luxuriously across a couch. But it's just like this corridor of portraits of her. And then finally, she takes you to the end of the hall and into a series of...
As we walk. Sorry.
Yeah.
I say to her, "So these rooms, they're not filled with more like living furniture, are they?"
Some of them, yes. Some of them are filled with other things.
"I mean, the ones that you prepared for us."
Oh, no, I didn't think that would be much to your taste. So she throws open a set of gorgeous double doors and reveals a banquet room. The chairs at the banquet table seem to be made of like solid gold. There is just finery everywhere. There's a shining golden chandelier hanging from the ceiling. There's a roaring fire at the end of the hall that seems to just kind of crackle pleasantly. And on the table, there's a spread of various appetizing looking foods. She says, please sit down, rest, eat, and then Harmony, whenever you're ready, I've made all my preparations. But first, is there anything I can get for the group of you? Of course.
Thaddeus looked around to see if there's any fish laid out.
There's some large like salmon or trout or something like that.
Yeah, Thaddeus will go and help himself to some fish.
There's a couple fishes.
This is very bizarre, a comforting roaring fire in hell.
I spare no expense in order to make those who I am personally invested in feel welcome. As I said, truly apologize for your treatment at the hand of my guards. They will, I assure you, be dealt with. However, as I said, anything else that I can get for you, it is done. I can leave one of my servants here, if Harmony, if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get this over with.
Understood. Then, if you would come with me, and basically, she leaves the group of you in the care of a couple of imps who are dressed in like French maid outfits, who basically stand at the ready to get you whatever you need.
I am going to look at Mara and say, hey, can I take Pinky with me just in case?
Of course.
I'm actually going to whisper that to her because of my hearing.
Of course.
Just one of the rats or the whole swarm?
One of them. Just, can I borrow a piece of Pinky?
Pinky.
You want Pinky?
Pinky's Pinky? Yes.
Okay, I reach into my coat, surreptitiously hand it to you.
Okay. Roll a sleight of hand check.
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, 17 plus 15, so it's good.
What does that add up to?
32.
32, yeah.
I'm
Very good.
I was just
You can
debating
just-
whether to tell you what Glasya got on her perception check, but I'll leave it for now.
Yeah, you could just slip the Pinky of Pinky into my bag.
Yeah,
And I'll
Harmony,
just-
you feel the weight of a small rat kind of drop into your bag.
And I'll message Mara again as I walk out following Glasya, and I'll say, if Pinky's Pinky returns, then come looking for me.
Okay, got it.
Is there anything that the group of you want from the imps in maid outfits?
I just want food and a bed at this point.
If you ask for a bed, the imps literally run out of the room and get a bunch of bigger devils to like drag a bed in with like these lavender poofy sheets and stuff.
Nice.
I think Zant will
Anyone
just
else
help
want
himself to
anything?
some food that's on the table, and
Kick
It's all
back, yeah.
deliciously prepared. Unlike the rest of hell, it seems to not taste disgusting.
great.
Perfect.
So, Harmony,
Yes.
you are taken by Glasya down another series of corridors. The banquet hall seems to have been on like the second or third floor because you are sort of behind the glass windows that look out on the rest of the layer. So you have this kind of like lavender glass that you can look through and see the rest of the layer beyond. The lavender glass that I mentioned that is in kind of the eye sockets. But Glasya takes you down several flights of steps until you seem to be in kind of like a series of tunnels. Like they're carved tunnels as opposed to like the sort of more refined structure of the rest of the fortress. And she takes you down those corridors until she pulls open a door that leads into a sparklingly clean laboratory. Like it's all kind of like white and there's like lots of crystal apparatuses and things like that. and there's a sort of a fine crystal chair in the center of the chamber. And there's a number of devils that are kind of like busying themselves preparing the chamber. But when Glasya comes in with you, they bustle their way out so that the two of you are left alone in the room. Looking around the room, there's all these like crystal apparatuses, but the thing that kind of dominates the room is there's this massive like crystal tube in the back of the room that just stands empty. And Glasya kind of gestures you to the chair in the center and says, sit down if you would. This is going to be a bit of a long procedure, but well, it doesn't have to hurt at all.
Before I sit, I'm going to look at her and say, I know I'm not supposed to ask about the loophole, and I don't want to know, but I am curious what's going to happen to Ruin as a result of this.
Well, the answers to that could be numerous and varied, and certainly they depend on the agreement we come to in the end, but immediately, nothing.
Curious and curious. I'll sit down.
Okay. She goes to like take your staff and your bag and stuff from you, and she takes them and kind of leans them up against the wall, sets them aside, and then she comes over to you.
As she's doing that, I'm going to, like, as I take my bag off to hand to her, I'm going to whisper to the rat in my bag and say, if you hear screaming, go to your master.
Okay. She then goes to sort of a table where there are various tools and things laid out, and she selects a tiny crystal vial attached to a spindly metal needle, and she makes her way over to you and says, like I said, this won't hurt at all. And
you said it doesn't have to.
Of course, and you and I are well acquainted, and so I will make sure that it doesn't. Were things reversed, I might make sure that it does. But fortunately, you and I are on good terms. And she takes the needle and kind of pokes it into your shoulder gently, and you almost don't even feel a thing. And she begins to extract. She pulls back on a stopper, and you can see that blood begins to fill the needle. And the vial is quite large, so by the time that the vial is full, you're beginning to get a little bit woozy from the blood that is being extracted. And she just says, now, I know I don't want you to know the specific loophole, but I will just say it is quite fortunate that your power resides not with your soul, but with your blood. So fortunately, there are certain magics we can work in order to exploit the specific wording of the contract. And she then basically, now that she's extracted this vial, begins setting up a sort of ritual around you. And then she takes the vial to the large crystal tank in the back of the room. And there's kind of like an aperture in the tank. She inserts the needle and squeezes in the blood, and it kind of coats the bottom of the tank. And she then comes back to you and with a smile says, just a couple more. And Harmony blacks out. When you come to consciousness, you are in the same room. Glasya is there, and she is kind of cleaning the tip of the needle. And you look around the room, and everything is pretty much as it was, except the tank is entirely full of blood. This like huge 10-foot tall, 10-foot wide tank.
How do I feel?
A little bit woozy, but there's a cookie on a tray in front of you, and she says, "Eat that. You'll feel better." the magic ritual has been cleaned up. But strangely, as you kind of try and recall the ritual that she performed, you can't remember the hazy details. It's clouded by fog. The other thing that you notice as you kind of come to consciousness is, well, never mind. You don't notice anything else. That's about it. What would you like to do?
I guess I'll eat the cookie.
Like a rush of like vitality and energy kind of fills your body.
Instead of a good berry, it's a good cookie.
This is great.
Oh, I've just stocked it with various herbs and ingredients from across the multiverse that boost energy.
Wow.
Trust me, you'll be feeling shipshape in no time.
I'm gonna need to get the recipe from you.
Unfortunately, it's a family secret. And she gives you a little, like, kind of cheeky wink.
Thought I'd ask.
Shall we give you back to your friends then?
What time is it? How long was I out?
Oh, she kind of glances around the room as if looking for an hourglass or something like that. Oh, I don't know. I got quite busy, involved with my work. I would say maybe an hour or so.
Oh, wow. I kind of assumed it would take longer than that.
The rest of you, Harmony has been gone for about 4 hours.
I should probably sleep at this point.
In the bed that the devil's
not even worried about her being alone with an archdevil at all.
I mean, it's not the most dangerous thing that's going to happen to any of us in this council.
Well then, shall we return you to your friends?
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my brain is still a little fuzzy still.
Oh, that's to be expected. Like I said, the procedure, it was a bit involved, but it is done. You can rest assured that future generations will not be bothered by the collection agents of my father.
How do I know that it worked?
A devil's word is their bond, and, well, archdevil and the epitome of a devil. So you may rely on my word. Your debt and the debt of your descendants is paid.
Great. Speaking of your word, there might be another thing that another deal we can make, maybe, but we can talk about that tomorrow when my brain is not as fuzzy.
Oh, understandable, yes. And I do, of course, have other matters to attend to. I'm quite a busy woman, so I'll return you to your friends.
Right,
you can
Ruin's
get some
waiting
rest.
for you.
Yes, of course. Him and about 17 others.
Looks like it's going to be a party.
Yeah, so she kind of gives you your bag and your staff back.
I immediately check to make sure everything's still there.
Everything is there except for Pinky's pinky.
Pinky's pinky is not there. Oh
Gone.
no.
No trace.
Cool.
I will now tell you she rolled 1 point above what Mara rolled. So she just barely caught it when Pinky was slipped into the pocket.
I've been thinking ever since she said she had Mayfield see that. I was like, she's a very busy woman and she hasn't got all day.
I was actually thinking that she could probably hear the whispers to each other anyway, because isn't she, like, this is her plane, right? Or her
right.
level.
So if it were telepathic, she could.
Yeah, they definitely were. So she probably knew anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you would have gotten the sense that, like, the continued sense that you felt before that, like, something was overhearing.
I mean, I don't know if she knew it was there.
Does Pinky lose HP then?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And he never went back to Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it would be like 1 HP. So,
Okay.
yeah, he never went back to Mara.
Okay.
Sacrifice.
But yeah, Glasya leads you back up the tunnels, away from the laboratory. And as she does, you like try and sort of unconsciously map the path down to that laboratory where the tank full of blood was. And just as you walk away from it, it's like that becomes a fuzzy memory as well. And then suddenly you're trying to remember what happened in the room, or was there a room? It's like the further you get away, the entire experience becomes fuzzy, until you get to the point where you're standing back in the hallway of the main fortress with Glasya, and you have this occurrence. You realize, how long have we been standing here? Do we need to go do that procedure now? And you have no memory of it whatsoever.
Don't worry, I know how that is.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll actually look around and say, wait, do we have to go do the thing?
Oh, darling, I was afraid this might happen. No, we are quite done. As I assured you before, your debt, all of your future ancestry can rest assured that Asmodeus's collectors will not come for them. Your bloodline is now safe.
Great. Why don't I remember any of it?
Well, you will recall the little bit in our deal where you're not allowed to know what happened in order to break the loophole.
I see. Right.
Just a little precaution. So
right.
I'll return you to your friends, and then I assume everyone looks so tired, and of course you look exhausted after that procedure, so I assume the group of you will want to take some rest. Get a little recuperation.
I'm kind of hungry.
You are welcome, of course, to stay the night within this facility, and of course, as I've mentioned, all of the delights herein are yours at your disposal. Anything you desire, please just let my servants know. And with that, the double doors to the chamber open. You can see Thaddeus snoring in a vast lavender sheeted bed, and the group of you are restored to each other.
Just like drag marks along the floor next to the bed, to the doors.
And Glasya says, that y'all were worried about me.
Well,
is everyone sleeping?
Yeah, I think if it took
Probably
4 hours, Sam probably would have
woken
dozed
up
off
when
too.
you came. Yeah, but Pinky never came back, so I thought everything was going.
I mean, I think okay. I guess I'm here. All right. Well, good night, and we'll see you in the morning.
Shall I have the servants bring beds for each and every one of you? She kind of gestures at Thaddeus's bed and says, Master Hammerlock's is quite large enough that I'm sure you could share, but if you desire your own individual ones, of course, that could be arranged. And yeah, Thaddeus's bed is like 4 kings in a row next to each other.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of imagine that he's huge. Like sleeping like across it, like lengthwise or like sideways.
He's a little dignified. I don't know if he would do that.
He's not that bad.
He was tired though.
You're confusing him with yourself.
Yeah, but then
I would barely take up a corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Of that thing, though. Let's be fair.
Doesn't matter which way you sleep. It doesn't do anything to the length of the bed.
Melissa talking about the sacrifice of Pinky's Pinky gave me an idea for Ruin. What if we could give Ruin his own cranium rat colony?
Whoa.
I would do that.
How much would that even help, though?
Hey, Pinky's
cool. one starter here is like a bunch of colonies all spreading around his own thing, and they're all loyal to him. Just saying.
They're pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
It would help a Pinky's worth.
I mean, that's an option. Glasya departs, but her servants each bring in like a bed the size of Thaddeus's for each of you.
Oh my gosh.
And the lights in here are dimmed. The fire is put out.
I like scarf a bunch of food first.
I'm imagining like an Animal Crossing room where there's just like these 4 giant beds all stacked right next to each other, and there's like no room for anything else in the room anymore.
Yeah, I mean a little bit maybe. Like the table with the food is pushed all to the side.
Yeah.
I was eating that.
Like I wake up and I have to like climb across somebody else's bed to get out of mine now.
Yeah. And I expect instead of I was eating that, it's like they're like lifting your chair as you're like eating, and they're like lifting the banquet chair away at the same time, and so you're like just eating happily as they're like you're being pushed to the side together, and they're redoing the furniture.
It's a very silly scene, but the group of you are afforded a nice long rest.
Great.
Everything
Yay!
goes peacefully as you rest through the night.
Level 20.
And I guess that's a good place to stop, probably.
Probably, yeah.
If we have to, I guess.
So yeah, with your first long rest since reaching Malbolg, as you mentioned, everyone in the party reaches the final level, level 20.
Doesn't have to be the final level.
Well, it is.
I rolled good on my HP.
Great.
So yeah, I guess we'll stop there for the night. We'll be back. We might not be playing next week. We still need to talk about that, right? Because I'm out, but we'll figure it out. We may be back next week with more of this. We may skip a week. We'll find out. And I guess maybe we'll post something on Twitter.
Check Twitter. We'll post if we're not going to be playing.
But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you, as always, to the group of you for playing. And we'll be back with more of this either next week or the week after that. So we'll see you all then. Bye.
Bye.